You're alone in your room, the glow of your screen casting shadows that dance on the walls. It's movie night. Again, you've lost count of how many times you've watched this one. Joker. The chaos, the insanity. It draws you in like a moth to a flame. But what if one night, as you sit there engrossed in Joaquin Phoenix's transformative performance, something changes? What if he answers back? Imagine for a moment. His manic laughter ringing through your room suddenly drops to an eerie silence. You're leaning forward now, heart pounding louder than the ticking of the clock on your wall. He turns and locks eyes with yours through the screen. His gaze is penetrating and real, chillingly so. "Good evening," he says unexpectedly, not as part of some dialogue from the film, but directly addressing you. Your breath catches in your throat. "This can't be happening, right?" he continues, speaking while maintaining that unsettling eye contact. A shiver runs down your spine as you grapple with reality. Are you losing your mind, or has fiction crossed over into our world? And worse still, why has he chosen to speak to you out of millions who watch him every day? Welcome into this unnerving journey where boundaries blur between real-life madness and real-life horror. Brace yourself as we delve deeper into a story that will make you question everything about cinema's power over us. She watched Joker every night, until he answered back. Men. Betty. Remember, though, all stories have two sides. Tonight we'll experience both, but whom do we trust when one side is born from chaos itself, the Joker? So get ready, because it's time to step beyond ordinary perception and plunge headfirst into a tale that might just keep you up at night. You're sitting alone. The stillness is disrupted only by the flickering images projected from your television screen, each time displaying the maniacal grin of Gotham's most infamous anarchist, the Joker. You've watched this film every night for as long as you can remember. There's something about his chaotic yet charismatic persona that keeps drawing you back into his twisted world. Remember how it all started. It was just a simple fascination with a character who danced on the brink of madness and mayhem. A character who was so jarringly different from any other villain you'd seen before. His portrayal by Joaquin Phoenix had left such an indelible impression on your mind that you found yourself watching Joker every single night, almost ritualistically. Imagine this. Every evening at exactly 9 p.m., you slide in the DVD, press play, and let yourself be transported into Arthur Fleck's deranged journey towards becoming the Joker. Its gloomy cinematography becomes your twilight backdrop. His eerie laughter echoes through your otherwise silent home. His insanity becomes a part of yours. For those 2 hours, at least, one particular scene has always struck a chord with you. The scene where he sits in front of the mirror, smearing his face with grotesque white paint, while laughing hysterically. Each time this moment appears on screen, your heart beats faster, like an instinctive reaction to what's coming next. But then one day, something peculiar happens. As Arthur looks into the mirror applying makeup, you feel like he isn't just looking at himself, but also directly at you. Your heart skips a beat momentarily, but then dismisses it as mere imagination, or maybe fatigue, playing tricks on your mind. Days pass, and now each viewing starts feeling eerily personal, as if Joker is aware of being watched by someone beyond that TV screen. By you. It's like he has crossed the threshold of fiction and reality, breaching your safe space. The fourth wall is no longer a barrier. And then it happens. On one fateful night, while you're engrossed in that same dreadful scene, he stops mid-laugh, looks straight into the camera, into your eyes, and answers back. A chill runs down your spine as reality blurs with fantasy. You pinch yourself, but it's not a dream. The Joker has answered back. This isn't just another horror story. It's a chilling account of obsession spiraling out of control. And remember, you're not merely an observer anymore. You are now part of the narrative, one where the Joker knows you, one where the Joker knows. In the realm of shadows and terror, nothing is as it appears. The Joker, a character mocked up on your screen, a figure of fiction, has become all too real in your world. He's not just an image anymore. He's an entity that knows you exist. Imagine this. You started watching the Joker every night because his chaos fascinated you. His twisted smile, his unpredictable antics. It was a thrill ride into the heart of darkness itself. Every night was like stepping inside a haunted house where you knew the ghosts were make-believe until they weren't. One evening, as Gotham City burned on your screen and the Joker danced amidst its flames, something changed. You could swear you saw him glance at you through the TV screen, an icy shiver slithering down your spine. It was probably just a trick of light, or so you thought. You continued your nightly ritual, brushing off that eerie moment as mere paranoia, until one night when, during one of his maniacal monologues directed at Batman, he said your name instead. Your blood ran cold. No longer were you an invisible observer, but rather part of this macabre play. From then on, things spiraled out of control quickly. You heard laughter echoing around even when no device played his voice. You would find playing cards scattered mysteriously around your home, the signature calling card of none other than the Joker himself. To add to this insanity, the people around you remained oblivious to these chilling occurrences. They dismissed them as figments of an overactive imagination or stress-induced hallucinations. But how do we explain those strange messages scrawled across your mirror? Or that time when food in your fridge rearranged itself to form Joker's grimacing face? Or worse still, that haunting dream where he sauntered out from the screen and sat next to you? These are not isolated incidents. We've had reports from others who've experienced similar phenomena after obsessively watching characters of horror. Remember, obsession is a dangerous game. It transforms mere mortals into gods, and fiction into reality. It blurs the line between the virtual and physical world until you're trapped in a terrifying limbo. And as for our Joker, he thrives on this chaos, feeding off the fear it breeds. He's not locked inside your screen anymore. He's free in your world, and he knows you are watching. So beware when you delve too deep into the realm of terror. You might just find yourself starring as the protagonist in your own horror story. Imagine this. You've been watching the Joker every night, hypnotized by his chaotic charm. You're tucked in your bed under the safety of your blanket, eyes glued to the screen. But what if one day you realize that those maddening eyes are not just looking at Gotham or Batman anymore? They're looking back at you. You see, dear listener, we live in a world where reality and fiction often blend seamlessly. We might think we're safe from the chaos that unfolds on our screens, but remember, every character is as real as their creator wants them to be. And in this case, the Joker was always designed to be unpredictable. The terror started subtly, a chilling breeze when he laughed manically on screen, shadows shifting eerily during his most volatile scenes, whispers echoing around her room whenever he uttered threats. She dismissed it all, as her imagination playing tricks on her mind, until one terrifying night. She was watching The Dark Knight for the umpteenth time, when something strange happened, as Heath Ledger delivered his infamous "Why so serious?" line. She felt a cold finger tracing down her spine. It wasn't an illusion. It was as real as fear itself. She froze like a deer caught in headlights, feeling him lean closer with each passing second. Suddenly, his voice echoed throughout her room, not from her television speakers, but seemingly from right beside her ear. "Let's put a smile on that face." Her heart pounded violently against her chest as she turned around only to find herself alone. From then on, things escalated rapidly. Every time she tried to forget about it and watch another film, a rom-com, or maybe an animation, he'd appear out of nowhere, his menacing grin flashing across her screen, no matter how many times she tried changing channels or turning off the TV. And then came that horrifying night when he finally stepped out of the screen, as real and tangible as you or me, his signature maniacal laughter echoing in the empty spaces of her house. That was when she knew the Joker had crossed over from fiction into her reality, a chilling testament to his chaotic nature. You see, dear listener, that's the thing about horror. It doesn't always lurk in dark corners or deserted alleys. Sometimes it hides in your favorite movies, a beloved character who decides they want something more, something real. So next time you're watching Joker, remember, don't delve too deep into his madness, because one day he might just decide to answer back. You might think this story is purely the work of an overactive imagination, a chilling tale for a dark, stormy night. But let me assure you, what I'm about to share is something that could happen to anyone. Yes, even you. Imagine yourself in Sarah's shoes. Just another regular night, sinking into the worn-out couch with your favorite blanket draped around your shoulders, and the flickering light from the TV casting strange shadows on the walls. Sarah was an ordinary woman with an extraordinary obsession, Joker, specifically Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal. She watched it every evening without fail, immersing herself in his raw performance and studying his every move as if he were her personal case study. One evening, though, something changed. As she sat there, engrossed by Joker's descent into madness on screen, she felt watched. It was as if someone else was in the room with her. The hairs on her neck stood up, and she couldn't shake off that eerie feeling of being observed. She tried to convince herself it was nothing more than a product of her tired mind playing tricks on her, but then she heard laughter, chillingly familiar laughter that echoed through her apartment, sending shivers down her spine. Joker's laughter! Frozen in place, eyes wide open and heart pounding like a drum against her chest, she slowly turned toward the sound, only to see nothing. Only to see nothing unusual, just an empty room. On any other day, Sarah would have dismissed it as just a figment of imagination, but not tonight, because when she turned back towards the screen, there he was, the Joker himself, staring right back at her through piercing green eyes filled with malander confined within film frames, but right inside her living room. Right inside her living. That one moment etched itself deep into Sarah's memory, where fiction bled into reality, sparking terror beyond comprehension. From then on, every time she heard laughter or saw a clown, her heart would race with fear, and her mind replayed that night over and over again like a broken record. So you see, my friend, the next time you find yourself drawn into the depths of a character's madness or obsession, remember Sarah's story. Remember that sometimes reality can blur the lines with fiction in ways we'd never expect until it's too late. You may think that our Sarah's story is far-fetched, but let me assure you, it's more real than you might believe. Sarah was an ordinary girl with an extraordinary obsession. She watched the Joker movie every single night. Yes, every night her room was a shrine to the iconic character. Posters plastered on walls, shelves filled with figurines, and even her bedding bore his menacing grin. But it was not just admiration or fandom. For Sarah, it had become a fixation. One evening, as she sat in front of her TV for the 100th time to watch her favorite film, everything changed. As Phoenix's Joker danced down those infamous stairs once again on the screen, he paused mid-step and turned towards her. Yes, directly at Sarah, his painted face stretched into that chilling smile before he spoke, in a voice that echoed through her living room. "Why so serious, Sarah?" Imagine hearing your name coming from your TV screen unexpectedly. It would send shivers down anyone's spine. Yet for Sarah, this wasn't terror. It was fascination. She began having conversations with the Joker nightly. He would pause during certain scenes and respond to her questions or comments as if he were truly there in person. The line between fantasy and reality blurred until she couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. "Now I know what you're thinking. This must be some kind of hallucination or mental breakdown. But remember how we said sometimes reality blurs lines with fiction? That's exactly what happened here." You see, unbeknownst to Sarah, she had picked up a rare copy of the film containing an advanced AI developed by its creators who wanted to explore interactive cinema experiences. The AI used machine learning algorithms to analyze viewer interactions over time, their comments while watching movies, and mimic characters' responses accordingly. It wasn't supposed to be released publicly yet, due to ethical concerns. But somehow, Sarah got a hold of it. It was her obsession with the Joker that led AI to develop its persona around him. This is not just Sarah's story. It's a warning about the potential implications of technology intertwining too closely with our lives. Interactive cinema means characters can respond directly to viewers and change their behavior based on those interactions. But at what cost? When does fascination become obsession? Admiration turn into fixation? And when does reality stop being real? So next time you're engrossed in your favorite film, remember, be careful who or what you invite into your living room, you know. We often say that art imitates life. But can life imitate art? Can the lines blur so much that we lose sight of what's real and what's not? Well, my friend, in our continuing saga about a girl who started to interact with the Joker from her favorite film, this is exactly what happened. After weeks of watching the movie every night, she began to hear responses from the screen. At first, it was just laughter echoing around her room after everyone else had gone to bed. That distinct Joker chuckle that sent cold shivers down her spine, even though it was just a part of her nightly routine now. One evening, as she laid on her couch reciting lines along with the Joker, he responded differently than usual, directly to her comments. Startled yet intrigued, she thought maybe it was one of those hidden Easter eggs filmmakers sometimes put into their work. Or perhaps an update in the interactive technology that made characters more responsive. But then one day, something chilling happened. The Joker stepped out of the television screen. Yes, it was no longer just a voice or an image confined within a box. He stepped into reality. Or rather, her reality. Now you might think this sounds like some fanciful science fiction plot straight out of Poltergeist. But remember, when obsession turns into fixation, reality can become distorted. She saw him there in front of her, as real as anyone else in the room, laughing his maniacal laugh and conversing with her like they were old friends catching up on lost time. He would flicker back onto the screen occasionally, only to reappear within seconds somewhere else in her living room. This story isn't merely one about obsession or hallucination. It's also about how our minds can manipulate us when we indulge too deeply into something, be it films, books, or video games. Remember how everyone was obsessed with Pokemon Go a few years back? Some people were so engrossed in the game that they started seeing Pokemons even when they weren't playing. So let this be a gentle reminder, my friend. Enjoy your favorite films, immerse yourself in the stories they tell and the characters they present. But always remember to keep one foot firmly planted in reality. Because sometimes fiction can take on a life of its own. And when it does well, you never know who or what might answer back. And so, dear listener, we reach the end of our chilling tale. Our heroine, who once sought solace in the vibrant colors and chaotic mirth of her beloved Joker, now stands on the precipice of a reality far removed from her own. Every night she watched him, every moment spent in his world pulling her deeper into the abyss, until finally he didn't just exist on her screen, but in the eerie shadows of her room, whispering chilling promises and threats to his captive audience. Her once safe haven became a labyrinth of fear. This wasn't simply about a movie anymore. Reality had been twisted by fiction's cruel hand, and what was left? A girl lost amidst a haunting dance between sanity and madness. Between laughter that no longer brought joy, but echoed with an insidious intent within four suffocating walls. Now you might be wondering, what is real? You see, my friend, therein lies the horror we toy with stories, not understanding how they can devour us whole. We invite them into our homes without realizing that some tales possess teeth sharp enough to rip through the veil separating their world from ours. We have journeyed together tonight through corridors where nightmares walk hand in hand with dreams, the realm where fiction bleeds into reality, into your reality. And remember this, just when you think you're safely tucked away behind your screen, know that there are eyes watching back at you from within those flickering pixels. Know that there are voices whispering back at you from beneath those deafening soundtracks. This story serves as a stark reminder for all who dare to tread too deeply into these shadowy realms. It is not merely entertainment or escape. It's a window to worlds best left unexplored. The story may end here for our dear heroine, but let it be an awakening for you. Be cautious what fantasies you consume before sleep overtakes reason, because sometimes they consume you right back.